minutes. No problem there. Back to you.
Brian, thank you. New this morning, are you considering becoming bilingual? Experts say it's never too late to learn, and there are benefits to learning a new language.
Yeah, Dr. Cindy Blanco is a learning scientist. She's here now to explain why picking up a new language is just good for your brain in general. I think this is something that people are aware of, and I don't know anybody that doesn't want to learn a new language. It's just hard to find the time to do something that seems so overwhelming.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And there are so many challenges for adult learners, but it is absolutely possible to learn a new language. And you hit the nail on the head. The real problem is finding time to build a good study habit and getting enough exposure to that language we want to learn.
It seems like there are so many more resources these days to learn a new language. When time is an issue, now there are, CDs, there's different apps. What are some ways that are good ways to start learning a new language as an adult?
Yeah, now more than ever, there are so many free resources that we have available at our fingertips. And so I would recommend for someone starting out to find things like language lessons on apps, like you mentioned. Some of them are free, and to mix those language lessons with other ways that you can get that fun, realistic practice with the language through things like streaming TV and movies in the language, or building playlists of music in the language, and following accounts on social media that post in that language that you want to learn. There are lots of easy ways to build that language practice into your daily routine.
So I think we all know that it is easier for younger people to learn languages. Their brains are like sponges. We always hear that anecdotally, and then we hear the science to back it up. So what are the benefits to an adult learning a new language specifically? You said it's good for your brain. Does this help prevent dementia and diseases like that?
Yeah, so we see benefits even before you're bilingual, that even studying a new language really forces your brain to make new connections. We can think of it as a kind of like cognitive exercise. And so we see some of those structural changes in the brain after just a few months of language study. And so with even more time and more practice, the gains, the benefits become even more significant. And you're right that we see in bilingual adults that they will suffer the symptoms of dementia later on compared to monolinguals.
Really?
And so, yeah, learning a language and doing that kind of puzzle solving, pattern finding is really great for cognitive functioning and for overall general health.
Okay, that's inspiring me to go back to the 2 languages I learned decades ago, and I know from experience if you don't use it, you lose it. Now I have 2 children learning a new language. What are some things you can do at home outside of their lessons? I remember we used to take stickers with the names of items or objects in the house and put it all over our house. Idea. Door, fridge, you know, that kind of thing.
I love that, and I do the same thing, and I recommend it to others as well. I think we sometimes, our schooling gets us in the habit of thinking that learning has to be distinct from enjoying, but I love this approach, the way you're thinking about it, like let's do things outside of our lessons that are really fun. And so you could imagine listening, you know, watching shows together, listening to music together, putting on like mini performances. And so I think it's really important to like play to your strengths and your family's strengths, that we know that it's really good for motivation to study and learn together. And if you're a family that really likes performing, being on stage, then kind of take that into the living room, you know, and build small plays. If you're a family that really likes visual arts, there are lots of creative things that you can do around drawing or, you know, illustrating new words in the language, that there are lots of ways for you to bring language learning out of like textbooks and into the real world, into the things that you already love doing.
I love that perspective. Dr. Cindy Blanco, thank you. What a fun conversation this was. Kind of inspirational for all of us that want to learn a second language or recapture an old language that we used to know.
Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Blanco.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.